now.
Hi everyone, Rob here from Anytime Fitness Shirley for exercise of the month. Now this month we're talking about the abdominal crunch, but we're going to be using a Swiss ball, and we're also going to be using a medicine ball, which I'll talk about in a moment, and why we're going to be using that as well. Now traditionally with an abdominal crunch, a lot of people do it off the floor or they do a sit-up. Now both of those aren't great exercises. The first one, doing an abdominal crunch off the floor, is you're just going into trunk flexion, but you're not going into trunk extension. So if you do a lot of flexion type movements, before long you're going to start looking like a Neanderthal or similar. So you don't want to look like a Neanderthal because it doesn't look very pretty. So it's my posture like this, you don't want to be like that. So when you're doing the crunch, you want to be able to go into flexion, absolutely, because that's when you're working your abdominals, but you want to work in extension as well, so you're working through the full range of motion. And that's why using a Swiss ball is very, very important for that. Talking about the sit-ups aren't a great exercise because they're working a lot of what's called your hip flexors. Your hip flexors connect to your lower spine, and by doing sit-ups you create a shear force through your lumbar vertebra, and that is not good for your back health. So if you're doing sit-ups, discontinue them. Not a great exercise to do, quite dysfunctional in fact. Anyway, so getting back to the Swiss ball crunch. So why are we doing a Swiss ball crunch? We're wanting to go through the full range of motion, flexion and extension, so we're working our abdominals through the full range of motion. We're wanting to work our abdominal muscles, which are fast twitch muscle fibers, and they respond best to loads and to faster movements. So what I'm going to suggest is you start practicing this movement slowly, and as you get better at it you can add load, add speed, etc. So now it's important to just work in the range of probably 8 to 15 repetitions maximum for doing this. Okay, if you're doing crunches till the cows come home, you're not working your abdominals correctly. Okay. The second thing is you want to initiate from the core and then come up from the core, and I'm going to show this in a moment. And the next thing you want to do is put the tongue on the roof of your mouth. Now what that does is it stabilises your neck. Okay, a lot of people will throw their head up like that. That promotes forehead posture, gets a bunch of these muscles working through the front of the neck that you don't want to be working, etc. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take through the Swiss ball crunch. So I'm going to start with a medicine ball just to demonstrate that it's good to have the load that's working the fast twitch muscle fibers. I'm tucked in nice and comfortable in here, my butt into the ball, my feet obviously pushed into the floor, my knees at right angles to the floor. I'm going to take this ball behind me. Now from here, tongue on the roof of the mouth, so swallow, and where your tongue ends up, that's where you keep it. I'm inhaling as I go back, and then I'm going to push my butt into the ball, belly button in, and then work from the core and come up. Inhale as I go back, and then breathe out as I come up. You get a great squeeze right in here. Inhale as I go back. Okay, so I'm doing it slow at the moment for demonstration purposes. I can then come up and across, so I'm working my obliques a little bit more, etc. And the other side. So what I'm doing is I'm initiating from here, from my core, from my butt, from my abs. This is coming along for the ride. I'm not throwing myself up there. It's all about getting this part to work, stabilising through the neck, going through the full range of motion, making sure you're adding some load once you get the technique down, and limiting your repetitions to 12 to 15, which you will have to do anyway if you are using a load. So that's the Swiss ball crunch in its simplicity. Take that away, start using it, avoid the crunches off the floor, avoid the sit-ups. A Swiss ball crunch through the full range of motion on a Swiss ball with it loaded, limiting your reps is the correct way to do that. I'll see you next month for Exercise of the Month.